So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a notice of a council meeting. You are hereby summoned to attend a meeting of Kemsworth Town Council to be held in the main hall, Kemsworth Town Council Community Centre, Bullenshaw Road, Kemsworth, commencing 7 p.m. on Thursday, 13th of October 2022, for the purpose of transacting the following business. So, also it's the first meeting since the Queen Elizabeth passed away, so if we could be all standing for a minute's silence. Thank you. Item 2, apologies for absence. To receive apologies for absence and to consider and approve the reasons for absence.
Councillor Eccles and Councillor Mitchell.
Item 3, declarations of interest. Council should disclose pecuniary or non-pecuniary interests in any items on this agenda. Item 4, public question time. To receive questions from members of the public. If you just put your hand up, I'll come to you and then we'll get all questions answered.
I just want to ask a question, please, about the Kemsworth Town Council newsletter. It seems we've still got a problem actually communicating with residents at parishioners, especially regarding information that's actually vital to the public at the minute. I came down on Monday and actually had to get 60 copies, which I've distributed myself to residents on Springvale Rise. I apologise to Hereford, Sussex and Dorset Close and Woodlands. I didn't have enough for everyone to have one. Since I've dished them out, people have been coming and asking, Julie, why have we missed this brass concert? Why didn't we know anything about it? I believe you've actually employed somebody to distribute over 12,000 of them to community. Within the last hour, posts have been put on asking the community who's actually received them. There are nobody, from stretching from Fitzwilliam, Kingsley, Hemsworth. Loads of posts have just gone on. We've got one on Springvale Rise. We've had one on, yes, they have, because I did 60 on Monday. So can you tell me, please, who this council has paid to distribute the 12,000 leaflets, and still why has nobody had one? Therefore, they're not knowing about all information on events that's happening. That's why they're not turning up. I've also had to stand, which coincidentally, Vicky, well, I was talking to someone outside Tesco being asked, what's this thing that's a warm bank? Well, if you get your notice portal quicker, instead of having a meeting to discuss them on a meeting, to have an agenda to discuss them on an agenda, and then send an email in. So I'm asking, councillor, why has this community not been notified? Who is responsible? Who have you paid to distribute 12,000 newsletters and there's none gone out? Thank you.
Right, Julie. Well, I weren't aware that we'd got a company to distribute them, because in the recent years, ground staff have done that. They've circulated. But I know you're not the first to complain, Julie, because obviously we've heard other people complaining about these newsletters, which I was obviously going to have a word with Alan tonight about. But if Alan could just fill you in, because I know nothing about it. Like I said, these have always been printed in-house. Oh, no, sorry, not always. They've gone to DC print and they've always been distributed by ground staff. And that's what should have happened this time. I don't know who's authorised for a company. Alan, if you could just...
Yeah, in the past, going back years and years, it's been a mixture. Sometimes it was staff delivered, sometimes it was companies, and this year was a company. So if they've not been delivered, then I'll look into that.
Yeah, but Alan, did it come to council?
It's about £300 or £400.
It was company.
But
Or
did it
company, I
come,
can't remember.
but should it have come to council, Alan, for us to make that decision where we do it in-house, or we get a contract and spend money?
But if
Well,
you-
last time they had them all, they
Just a
all
minute,
got
Alan,
dumped.
I'm asking Alan.
Over the
something.
years, we've done both sometimes. Sometimes it's been staff, sometimes it's been a company. But if it's pros and cons, because if you use a company, you're not taking staff away from their work. It can be, it's potato, isn't it?
Well, this weather, I mean, the job's ease a bit, Alan, so, we could have actually got a distributor for, if it had come, Alan.
Yeah, you still haven't answered the question, who was the company?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, I can't
I
remember.
don't know.
Can we just, if he says he can't remember, yeah, we can just come to order. Can we get that information,
I'll
Alan?
find tomorrow morning,
Can we have an update on notice boards as well?
Update on notice boards, Alan. As you know, it got passed at last committee, and I'm afraid that's the policy and procedures of the council. This is what has to happen for things to happen. Unfortunately, they have to come to council to make the decision to do it.
So we can afford to draw.
No, we can't afford to do that, but I weren't aware that we was,
We gotta get a solicitor on it, and
well, that's any comment you can make, and it's not funny.
No, I'm just
It's
saying,
not
I
funny.
find it.
that time,
Well, I don't find it funny.
Well, I don't.
I don't need that.
that time when they were all printed out, one lot of posters, weren't they? And they ended up getting dumped in piles.
Them leaflets from about me and Mel to do it.
Aye.
They got dumped in just piles of them at top of people's streets.
Yeah, they should have used the
Yeah,
same
they did.
people.
Yeah,
So,
are we just going to ask questions, or am I just going to move on to agenda, because I'm not having everybody talking at this.
We've got to be allowed to ask questions.
Some more questions.
Well, I can't help it if people are just talking and coming in.
I've got my hand up and I'd like to ask a question. please.
Well, I'll take your question, but any more people that are speaking out, I will just move to normal agenda.
Well, that's normal practice, isn't it?
No, it's not. We've all, sorry, I have to stop you there because it's not. We have had question time run on nearly half an hour or more. It's only because of disruption in this public that we have to now limit it to 15 minutes so we can progress with the council meeting, because that's what it is, a council meeting. Can I have your question, please?
Yes, you can. I'd like to ask, who makes the decision whether the leaflets are done in-house or whether you're paying somebody to distribute them? Who makes that
Right.
decision?
As I've just said before, certainly while obviously I've been a councillor, we've had grounds maintenance. We've had them printed at DC print and grounds maintenance, as far as I know, everybody's more or less got them, but I didn't know about this company. I just said to Alan, why has it not come to council? And Alan's just given an answer. Sometimes they do it in-house, sometimes they don't.
But
That's something for a later date for us to
that's
tackle
not
with Alan.
answering my question. My question was, who makes the decision whether they're delivered in-house or by a company? Who makes that decision?
This time would have been me.
Right, no, and do you need authority to do that, or does your job give you the responsibility to make that
It
decision?
does, yeah. The council decides to have a newsletter, the staff materials we put it together, it goes to be printed, and then it gets to be distributed, either by ourselves or by a company to do it instead.
Right, just a minute.
Some councils make a donation and pay a few £100s to local scouts and they deliver that sort of thing, so.
Alan, so can we get the company that's supposed to deliver these, and obviously, and please can we get on this tomorrow, because we're not paying for leaflets that have not been delivered, and obviously the public not being informed of what events have taken place, and I'm afraid this company needs looking at.
Yep.
Is there any more questions, Lynn?
Okay, this one's actually on behalf of Carol Whitehead, who couldn't make it this evening. She's asked me to ask the council to look at this. We found out at the funding committee meeting on Tuesday night that the Memorial Garden in Kinsley actually belongs to Hemsworth Town Council. Apparently the developer of the new housing gifted it to the council.
Not as far as I am aware, it belongs to Wakefield, Lynn.
Wakefield says
Yeah.
it's yours. The king, apparently Fitzwilliam is theirs, Kingsley is yours. All the question was, if you're not sure about that, could you please look into it? But can we get it tidied up and the railings painted before Remembrance Day, which is the 11th of
Fine.
November?
To be fair, Lynn, that usually happens
It's ours,
anyway.
it's excellent.
It does happen anyway. I know
Yeah.
grounds maintainers, that's the priority. But going back to, as far as I am aware, and that's through Alan.
Yeah.
Because I've asked the question regarding keys and stuff. You've always said it's Wakefield, Alan.
It's as far as about it's Wakefield, because coincidentally, a few weeks ago, we contacted them about Remembrance Sunday, about two things. One, to make sure it's tidy, and two, to make sure it's open, because it's actually locked at the moment. And they've got the key for the lock, which would indicate that it's their land, and same goes for Fitzwilliam. Traditionally, we have ourselves, even though it isn't our land, we've tied it up in time for Remembrance Sunday. But my understanding is that the land belongs to Wakefield.
I've
It's not- it's
got
ours,
two
great,
keys
but-
for memorials.
We were told specifically that that piece of land was gifted to the council when the new, because it belonged to the church apparently.
Yeah, church.
Yeah.
And when the developer built the houses on the church, that bit of land was gifted to Hemsworth. Wakefield were quite adamant about that because they're sorting out the Fitzwilliam garden, but they can't sort the Kingsley one out because it don't belong to them. So
As far as
there
I'm
there may
aware,
be a
we've done both them.
That should be under the
Can I
land
just ask
registry.
Maxine,
Yeah.
you said you've got two keys. We were struggling to get a key from
Well, nobody
Wakefield.
asked me.
No, but
I did it last year.
Yeah, you told them you've
I
got. one
told
as well.
Alan last year I had keys.
Yeah, you did.
well, I'm not on about last year because I know that was.
But nobody's asked me this year.
Well, last year
Have we
was,
got a key now, Alan?
No.
I've got a
Right.
key, Alan.
last year
I
it
want
was
it
still
back.
gonna be one.
Right, is there any more questions? Yeah, I'll come to you.
This,
I'll come to you in a minute. No, it's public question time, yeah.
Right, my question is in the exclusion, item 21, the burglary. There's lots of things on social media, so people are saying that a quad bag's gone and a safe. Are you in a position to actually say what has been taken? Because as a resident, I think we should know what's been taken. And also, you've asked me previously when I attend PAC meetings, if I can highlight things to the police and report back to you. So can you do that so that when I attend a PAC meeting, I can highlight that and bring it to the attention?
Well, you're absolutely right. There is things going off. There is things going around on Facebook. A lot of lies and innuendos and who's responsible and who's not. Totally.
Well, this gives you the opportunity to.
But it is an
hear
exclusion
whether
in press
it
and
is-
public,
Yeah.
and that the clerk decides what goes into press and after press and public.
It will all be made public in due course, just not tonight though.
And that we're just going to get to that, Alan.
Yeah.
We'll get back in due course. So, right, we're just going to, well, just
All
check
it
yours.
is-
Last question.
Wakefield Mets have always done the maintenance for the memorial. Now, whether that's altered, I don't know.
I just know that our lads did it last time, but.
Why don't we just do it though? Just do
Well, they
it.
do, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
but
It's not a
once
big
it's
deal.
there, That's it. They'll take-
It sounds
You've got
like
it
you
for
do
both.
it, so we do it, and if it is ours, fair enough. Sounds like
It's
it's
still
ours.
working anyway, so,
Yeah.
you know, so
It
we're
is
gonna move on
ours.
to the, we're gonna move on to the next item. Which is item 5, recorded votes as per minute number 262, 2122, to consider which items on the agenda will have a recorded vote. Well, we can say at the time if we want to
Madam
record
Chair,
it.
so council has requested that all items have a recorded vote.
Fine. Item 6, town council meetings, to approve the minutes of the council meetings held on 18th of August 2022. So we've got a mover and a seconder. If we aren't, we can't pass, we can't approve them.
Madam Chair.
We've got a seconder. Item 7, committee and subcommittee meetings, to adopt the meetings of committees and their respective subcommittees as follows. Committees, so we'll do all that, we'll just move them. So leisure and recreation, 28th September 22, finance, 28th September 22, policy and planning, 28th September 2022. Can we have a mover?
Ask all in favour, because of the call.
Yeah. So obviously we need our votes recording, that seems request, so can we, all in favour? Yeah. Item 8, accounts for payment, to confirm the payments of account and approve the finance committee's meetings on 28th of September 2022. Can we have a seconder?
Yeah.
All in favour? Item 9, new council, to welcome the new council for the Hemsworth South Ward and to consider appointing to any of the council standing committees. Well, I propose that we, Ian's on all committees. If you want to be on all committees, Ian, and welcome to town council.
Thank you very much.
Also, as well, we've got the new deputy town clerk that sat in the front.
Andrew.
Andrew, I was going to say Anthony because I normally call him Anthony for some reason, but Andrew. So welcome to the council, Andrew, and we will be seeing you in Alan's chair when Alan's not away. Yeah, leisure and recreation. Item 10, Cemetery Road football fields, long-term future, to consider request from Hemsworth Terriers FC to secure exclusive use of the site for the long term to enable them to obtain external funding. We do have somebody from Terriers, do we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you looked into this, Alan, for Hemsworth Terriers? Have you spoke to anybody?
Well, no, when we met with them a few weeks ago, and they'll correct me if I'm wrong, but in short, they'd like to have a 50-year lease, because that will then enable them to get various external funding. The town council doesn't have the power to do that with the lease, so it would have to go to Wakefield Council for them to consider it. If that's what the council wants to do, this council could then write to Wakefield Council in association with the Terriers to put that request to them.
Yeah, definitely.
That's if the council wants to do that.
Yeah, so it's not our decision, obviously, you know, it's Wakefield, so I think they need to, I mean, we'll support you as much as we can, but at the end of the day, it's Wakefield Council's decision for the term of the lease.
No, and definitely put it forward from us.
What are the implications for any other teams that want to use that pitch then?
That's it.
They won't be able to use it.
Do other people,
Yeah.
other people do use it, don't they?
No, just the Terriers.
Is it just the Terriers?
Sandgate's everyone, but Terriers.
That's it,
Central
yeah,
is Terriers.
I'm getting mixed up, right, yeah. So, yeah, it's just the Terriers.
You've got somebody wanting to talk to you, Jim.
Well, I'll obviously you can speak because it's about you've come specially
Yeah.
for that, so.
Yeah, can we just correct the name? It's West End Terriers FC, not Hemsworth Terriers.
Apologies.
That's his former name of the club. We're now West End Terriers FC.
Thank you for that.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Right, so yeah, can we put that to a vote? Yeah, yeah. Are we all in favour? Item 11, events panel, to consider setting up an events panel to suggest ideas for the council events.
Thanks, Madam Chair. It's Councillor Hurd's suggestion. Yeah, if it's approved, obviously need a panel of, well, however many. Sorry, it's Councillor Hurd's suggestion to set up this panel, so it can meet with the community to discuss ideas for future possible events. So if approved, we'll need to know who's going to be on the panel, manager. I'd suggest 3 or 4, something like that.
It's definitely going to be approved.
I thought that we could invite some like
Public.
onto
Yeah.
panel and make it proper community thing.
Yeah, that's
I
what you
mean, I'm
want.
not there for it, but in May next year, we've got.
Right, so we'll take a vote then. Are we all in favour?
Who's going to be on the panel, manager?
Well, we need to say if we're gonna,
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
So yeah.
well, are we all in
Can I
favour?
just ask a question first? What are you thinking, like setting up a panel and then they come back with ideas and
And
we
then,
approve
yeah,
them then?
I mean, I'm not, at the minute, it's all Shan and Elliot and those doing
Then
it
to think
all.
up the ideas, they can implement it, but. we
Yeah.
come up with Ideas, sounds very good.
And you need to,
I just think community wants to be involved.
of course they do, yeah. You need to get community
We need to
involved.
get them involved.
The community are involved because
Not enough.
we have Ellen and that's got a good circle of people around that they get involved, and that's why things happen at Christmas and at bonfire in this community centre. But listen, I'm in favour of it. I don't mind. So we have approved it anyway. We just need a panel.
Anybody like to be on panel?
Yeah,
Well, we'll just
we'll all change
If
it.
anybody like to be on panel.
no,
just
wait
let
a
us
minute.
know.
We
I'll
just
get in touch
we're
with
going to
Alan.
pick councillors and then you can invite the
Public.
public or whatever wants to come. So who wants to be on panel?
Well, I'll be on anyway.
I want to be on it.
Yeah.
We've got 3.
And then
Yeah.
public, come on, there's some public, I'll be on it.
Once you have a meeting about it, it can go on notice board. When we get them up, it can go on internet and public can be invited in to it. All right.
Yeah.
Obviously,
So
Shan
we're
and
going to
Elliot
move
needs
on
to be
to
invited. Shan and Elliot needs to be
Oh, yeah,
invited.
definitely, Shannon and everyone. Yeah.
item 12, health and safety monthly missions. To consider setting up monthly missions to assist health and safety good practice.
As Councillor Hurd's suggestion, Madam Chair, to have monthly mission cards to help reinforce good practice in health and safety.
Well, in my opinion, you don't need cards to put up for people. Well, what are you talking about? Where are you talking about?
I'm talking about staff, public. What monthly missions is actually is monthly things where they concentrate on health and safety. They have to.
Yeah, well, we pay health and safety.
You don't pay health and safety. Health and safety is us.
We get people in from Wakefield, such as for obviously down at the water park. We actually pay for that.
It's part
Obviously,
of good
they've
practice
got
of
the
any
certificates.
business or community.
I just don't think we need cards to
So-
tell them. They've got certificates, they know what they're doing, they know the health and
So
hygiene.
it's just every 3 years. Every 3 years you want them just to do.
No, I
these
didn't
health
say
and
that. They
safety.
don't
This is
come
what
every
you're
3
doing.
years.
This is what you're doing at the moment.
No, we have them at
They have
Wakefield.
a
do
training
come.
every 3 years. So
Wakefield
what I am
come to-
suggesting is that every month they just roll out slip, trips and falls, stuff like that.
was an
That's what.
accident book, doesn't it?
No, it don't go in accident, but if you
It
stop
does
it
go in
before it-
accident book. Every
What are you
accident
arguing
goes.
with me for?
Because you're pulling your face.
Because
And
I wasn't full of face
and
in
I'm
there.
not having you pulling faces.
Do you know what? I apologise. Every meeting, this is what we get. Every meeting, it's embarrassing.
You're just pulling faces.
Embarrassing. You're embarrassing.
You are embarrassing. I'm not going to
Eh?
sit there. You pulling face at
We
me.
want health and safety
And
properly
then you
down at
fetch
the
it
water
to the
park.
public because I pull a face back. Well, sorry, I'm not tolerating it. I won't
What are we
pull a
gonna
face
do?
back. Right, it's like kids in a playground.
I know, exactly.
You're not letting Maxine finish. What she's saying is a focus every month, and tell me if I'm wrong, Maxine, a focus every month on, let's really focus on slips and tricks this month, and it refreshes the memories, and it gets them thinking about health and safety more. We're not saying anything about not doing what we do at the minute. It's extra and it's protecting the staff and public, but if you let her finish, you should be able to explain that. Am I right in what you were trying to say there, Maxine?
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
Right,
Just don't antagonise
so
people.
can we have a vote then? I'm not antagonising
She
anybody.
is.
I'm not antagonising anybody.
Chair,
Same people keep coming in.
It's embarrassing every meeting.
It is, isn't it?
Yes, you are, Maxine.
Yes, you are.
we have health and safety checks regular. All staff are
And this is
trained
why
in
we're
health
having
and
all
safety.
these
We have
accidents.
a
Right, are we
town
just
clerk.
gonna
We have a town
stop
clerk.
talking, or are we just gonna have a recess for 10 minutes until we all calm down?
I'm calm already.
Chair,
But I'd like to know why.
Right, just a minute, I'm not taking any public questions, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm not taking any public questions.
Chair, we have training.
Right, can we,
We have
so we've
training.
got people talking in the audience, so we'll just
Yeah,
wait.
you're right there, love. You're
We'll
right.
just- We'll just wait until.
Right, she's not listening.
Anne,
From her.
Anne,
Respect the chair.
Yeah.
all it wants is a bit of respect, so we'll take 10 minutes out until everybody's stopped talking.
Need respect from all of you.
Chair, can I come in on this? We have
No,
health and
so
safety
nice.
checks from staff. They're all trained on health and safety. There's legislation pinned up on all sites that we have, and your town clerk regularly does health and safety check. And then once a year, we have Alice Whitney that does health and safety checks, as well as Wakefield Council. So all we're doing is generating further work for council, which is going to be further expense. It's common sense. People are responsible for their own health and safety.
So obviously I work for a multinational company in chemical industry, top take oversight. This is what industry does. It doesn't cost you anything. You go on HTC website, they're the topic of the month. You print it off, you put it on your staff notice board.
Exactly.
And it's common practice in business in this day and age. It's what all multinationals do. Your company probably do it, have an agenda of the month for trips and calls, or the working out, or it's something, mental health. It costs you some paper and some ink. Somebody prints off the agenda, they just see your website. And just
YLCA does it, Chair. YLCA does it.
Well, we'll just.
Why don't we want it?
Just-
It's just-
At the end of the day, though, it's the council, can we have a vote for it and whatever happens?
Exactly, so all in favour?
Chair,
Yes.
what's prompted this though?
Good practice.
Yeah,
It's good practice for any.
but are accidents higher than they have been in past or?
How many times have we had a claim?
I know,
How many times has people had accidents down there?
I know, but is it higher now?
How many?
Yeah.
How many?
Is it higher now than it ever has been?
No,
It's good practice. Every
So we're
company has
taking
it. It's good practice.
Preventive measure rather than a reactive measure.
And I'd rather be prepared.
right, so we'll take a vote on it then.
Can I just mention?
No, sorry, Kathy, no, no, Kathy. Right, I'm gonna stop meeting for 10 minutes if you don't sit down. Right, so can we have a, we're just gonna take a vote, all in favour? Yeah. Against? I'm not against health and safety.
That's what it is.
Right, so we'll move on now to item 13, external audit. Consider and or review the following. A, opinion to opt out of the smaller authorities audit appointment to appoint an external auditor. Alan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, there's a body appointed by. So is that? Body.
Gosh, your mouth's too big.
Thank you. Is that okay?
Raise the voice. There's a government body called Smaller Audits Appointments, and it appoints external auditors for all town and parish councils They appoint them every 5 years. The last time they appointed them was 2017, so the 5-year cycle's now up. Now recommend that we stay with SAAA for this audit appointment. It's good practice and it's far cheaper as well, Madam Chair. So I recommend that the council remains with smaller audit appointments.
Well, we'll vote on your recommendation then, Alan. So all in favour? Yeah, carry on. B, external audit report 2021-22.
Just 3 things to report, Madam Chair, from the external report. There was a challenge from a parishioner to the accounts, but that was dismissed by the auditor. There were no other causes for concern from the auditor. And it's one minor matter, which was about the setup for the trust for the Fitzwilliam Centre, that the council should be sole corporate trustee rather than individual trustee.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chair. Can I just make really clear, because people are thinking, this audit is the yearly audit, always happens. This is not the external audit that we've asked for. And Alan, I've been meaning to ask you this all. You know, there was a challenge. Do we ever find out what that challenge was?
No. Well, yes and no. In this instance, no. There are 2 types of challenges. A challenge that comes through when the auditor sorts it out there and then, in which case which is the case in this instance, where the auditor lets us know that there's been a challenge, but they've dealt with it, which would suggest that it was a matter not worth bothering with. If it was a matter that was maybe half and half worth bothering with, the second type, the auditor would then send the details of that challenge, not giving the person's name, but they would send the details to the council for the council to respond. That latter case isn't the case now, it's a former case.
Okay, so someone's.
So no, it
something.
was so minor, they dealt with it straight away. All we know is there was a challenge, that they dealt with it, and the invoices for it.
Do we get charged for that?
Yes,
And do we get
How much
charged
did
for
that cost us?
£852.
Is that per challenge?
Or is that for all
Well, no, it
challenges?
isn't a flat fee per challenge. It depends on the amount of work the auditor does in the challenge.
The challenge costs £800.
Yes,
I'm assuming then this other audit, any challenges on that have cost us about,
yes,
is that in addition to
yes.
what we've already?
I just think it would be interesting to see if this challenge that's gone to this one, if we knew what it was, we could get our auditor to look at it as well, because then we can, if it's something that's definitely wrong, and they're saying, look, that's not an issue, we don't even know what that issue
Well,
was,
the
do we?
fact that the auditor hasn't even sent us the details suggests that it's so minor, it is quite literally not worth bothering with. If there was anything to it, they would have sent it to us.
What would that be?
Cost 800.
And we'll never-
We're not allowed to know about it.
Madam Chair,
It's posted.
we'll never find out who it was that put that
No.
challenge in,
No, that's their right to do that confidentially.
because if we knew who it was, that person could get charged £852
No,
instead of the council.
no, sorry. Morally, the argument, believe it or not, it's a parishioner's right to challenge the account to the auditor, but the auditor then challenges the council. So legally, you're wrong. Morally, maybe you're right, but I'm not here to advise on morals. I'm here to advise on the law.
Thank you.
So, item 14, social media policy, to consider a policy in respect of the use of the council's social media, i.e. Facebook. Alan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The policy's been drafted. It's up to members to approve it. I recommend approval.
Right, just to cover off, sorry.
Yeah, all in favour? Oh, sorry.
Right, I just have a question. There was a-
Facebook.
I know, so you won't mind me saying a weird question. So,
In respect to the policy.
so we've all seen the policy, I think we all agree with it, but just to be really clear, there is a separate policy or the separate guidelines within employees' contracts that would cover employees covering it. So anything employees does is covered by their contracts, anything we do is covered by the code of contract.
Yes.
This policy is specifically
This-
about
This policy is with
council.
regard to the town council's Facebook pages or
And
accounts. I'm
comments
not a
being made
Facebook
on that
user, so I'm not fully cognizant of it all, but yeah, it's purely about the council's social media, which is in effect its Facebook page. It's about having one Facebook account run by the office, simple as that. And if, for example, the office staff or me put something dodgy on the Facebook account, you know, Boris or something, then we've been in trouble disciplinary wise. So that's purely about the council's Facebook account. If a member of staff posted something on some other social media site or some other website, that will be covered by the staff handbook and staff contract. If a councillor did the same thing, put something inappropriate on another website or another blog or whatever kind of thing, that's covered by the code of conduct.
Yeah. So Yeah, we're all in favour of that. Are we all in favour? Yeah. Item 15, subject access request to the town clerk to report an anonymised subject access request and to authorise the
Chair.
response accordingly.
Chair, if I can just come in there. Kathy mentioned this a few months ago, and I've looked at the ICO's response to what this young lady said. These requests shouldn't be coming to a full town council. As soon as the town clerk receives these requests, he's got 21 days to give that person an answer. So what I suggest here is that we recommend that, you know, these are not put on agenda because we're losing days. Like Kathy said, you could lose 14 days from that lady putting a subject access request or a freedom of information request into this council that the town clerk's, you know, qualified to deal with, without bringing it to us, because we'll never know what, you know, what it is, it don't come back.
I would have
So,
said that I was doing my
if-
work anyway, though.
If a member of public has a subject access request or a freedom of information request and it's handed into town clerk, he should deal with it within that agreed 21 days. If we don't have a meeting for 4 weeks, like you suggested, and I've checked this out with ICO, the town clerk should deal with it without putting it on the agenda and bringing it to us.
So,
Sorry, but can I just confirm, Alan, when you receive these requests, you do start gathering information, you just wait for us to go, yeah, you can send it, don't you?
Yeah, because there are some occasions potentially where there might be a 4-week gap. It can happen, but it's not very often. In those exceptional circumstances, I would respond to the person and then report it at the next meeting. If members can recall, when the policy was first adopted about FOI, I just reported them anonymously to every council meeting. But that did have gaps of 4, 5, 6 weeks, which wasn't on. So then the policy changed to when they come up to a committee meeting. So that covers the time issue.
Why did policy change? Why did that policy change?
Because the council wanted to be, with FOI requests, the council wanted to be aware, not of who's asking, because they can't know that, only I know that, but they wanted to be aware of what information was being asked for.
So what councillor Kenyon suggesting then would need to be a motion, because it's a change to the standing orders, isn't it?
It's a policy change, so it can't be done on this item, but if it wants to go on another agenda in the future, it can be done, yeah.
yeah, we'll bring that back. Item 16, freedom of information request, town clerk to report an anonymised freedom of information request received and to authorise the respective responses accordingly. I don't think there's any.
And having said all that, Madam Chair, this week there are not.
So item 17, Remembrance Sunday, Kingsley and Fitzwilliam to confirm location of refreshments after Remembrance Sunday, Wreath Lane in Kingsley. So there were 3, which was the Liquid Spirit, the Coronation and the Kingsley Hotel. I mean, I'll propose that we do it at Liquid Spirit because that is where the British Legion, thank you, Jim, British Legion have been held, and I do believe the last one was at the Coronation Club. So
Because British Legion
I think-
didn't want it at theirs.
well, it's been put forward, hasn't it? It's been put forward, so
Liquid Spirit, I asked Dale, I said, would you be prepared to all these refreshments? And he said he'd be more than willing.
Why didn't
No,
you
that's
say
the
that
offer.
last year?
That's the offer.
Well, last year it got cancelled.
It don't mean it's not been
We
here.
had 12 parts at last minute last year, so why is he saying he's having it this year?
well,
And
it don't matter, does
Queenie
it?
held it last year at last minute. He wasn't interested. Didn't know we're not British Legion anymore. We're the Liquid Spirit, he says.
Does that really matter? The thing
Well, I
is,
think it
I
does.
think we've got a community, we've got three public houses that are all part of Kingsley. So I'm proposing Liquid Spirit because Coronation Club had theirs last year, memorial refreshments there. So if we swap it about and do the Liquid Spirit and then the year after do the Kingsley Hotel, and that is fair,
Yeah.
and that gives everybody to be involved in it.
where do you want it, Alan?
I'd like it to be a ping again because they helped out at last minute last year.
It weren't last minute though, was it?
Of course it was last minute.
It was, I had 2 weeks to sort that.
Yeah,
Right, so
So
I've,
even,
I've proposed
I'm guessing these
the,
are all at the same time, so them was one at the same time as the Kingsland one.
Yeah.
So I'll not be down, I'll be, that's fine.
yeah, no, that's right, I mean, we can't be all over, so I've proposed the liquid spirit. So all in favour for liquid spirit?
I don't what to do here.
Well,
I
you
should
put
say
it
liquid
forward,
spirit,
you
but
put it forward,
if
Peter.
it's gonna cause that much trouble
Why should it cause
or
trouble?
ill feeling,
you know, no, really.
there's got to be, there won't be any ill feeling whatsoever. We've got
You
through
know,
all that when it
you
got
believe it.
cancelled.
do you all not get mum?
No, well,
No.
you know, you're outside.
I voted liquid spirit.
Right, can we have hands up again? Yeah. So,
Councillor Hadi, go vote.
Yeah. yeah,
Yeah, you're voting or not, yeah.
That's 6, 7, against. All for.
yeah, what, the other proposal is the coronation.
Coronation.
Well, I think it's,
Well, that's it, I know. Don't worry, they're not interfering with it this year.
yeah. So it's liquid spirit then. Item 18, memorial bench, past councillors, to consider having a memorial bench for past councillors in Emsworth Water Park. Yeah,
I was approached by Harry Hall, Councillor Harry Hall's wife. She'd like to put a plaque on one of the benches. And I thought it'd be nice if we could have one for all past councillors, really.
I agree.
So we're just talking about
plaques,
not brand new benches.
Yeah.
They're just plaques on them.
Yeah, no.
But, no, Harry Hall.
It would be a good idea if you're talking about Remembrance Day,
His wife.
you could put plaques on a bench or something like that for all of them. And have a bit of a service there, let the vicar do a bit of a service on that for Remembrance Day.
Remembrance Day, we're on about a plaque. for
I
past
know
councillors.
what you're on about, but we could pull it in.
Well, let's just vote on, let's just vote
Yeah,
on
that's
this
it,
one,
yeah.
and we can come back to that one. So we all in favour of that? Yeah, we're all in favour.
So can I tell Mrs. Hall that she can sort of plaque out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the one, isn't it? We're not
Yeah,
just
they
gonna put
put-
everybody's
They
names on
put
it.
it on.
Just if they want
Yeah,
one,
then she's willing to get her own plaque and everything.
Yeah.
Just a little one, so we'll.
That-
As long as they get looked after,
Get a separate bench, though, Madam Chair.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
as long as they get looked after, you have to be careful with them.
Item 19,
them out
exclusion
here.
of press and public. Members of the public and the press to be excluded for the consideration, business and confidential nature as per Public Body Submissions to Meetings Act 1960. So I bid you good evening, have a safe journey home.